Welcome everyone to Ed Talk TV, conversations worth having. I'm so excited to have you guys here, especially on a Friday. And we have some crazy news to talk about today. That's probably why you're all showing up early. We even started in the comments before this broadcast. It's been awesome. So let me jump in and share a little bit about the show first. In the meantime, you can jump into the comments, say hi to each other. Be sure to share love during the broadcast and be able to be sure to share the broadcast as well. So what is Ed Talk TV? Well, like I said, it's conversations worth having. So every day I go live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to talk about business, tech, and the user experience. Those are kind of the big topics that we'll cover throughout the show. And I like to bring on guests. So usually I'll have a guest with me, kind of like my co-host. And today we'll actually have one and jump into that conversation that will be about connecting with people and coffee. Who doesn't love coffee, right? So we'll be talking about that in a little bit. First, though, I will let you know that if you want to be a guest on the show after the broadcast, you can head over to checkwithed.com and look for the Facebook Live show tab in the menu, and then you can see all about the show and request to be a guest. Now, the way this show works is that you are going to engage not only with me and my co-host, but you're also going to engage in the comments because that's where the magic happens. The magic happens in the comments. So that's where I want you to hang out. You'll see me look down a few times. Sometimes I might even have my phone and look down. It's because I'm on Facebook giving the love over here, and I'm over here on BeLive.tv, which is what I'm testing out on my computer, and jumping in the comments there as well. So lots of different things going on. It's crazy, but it's fun. And what's really cool about this is that you can even check in and talk with me after the broadcast. So even if you're catching the replay, don't be shy. Jump into the comments and have the conversation. We're all here. We'll all be coming back to it, and we'll be talking about this a little bit more here in just a second because Facebook made some big changes, or is making some big changes, which I'm not really worried about. And if you've been following me and listening, you shouldn't be worried about it either. So we'll kind of talk about that. We'll probably go into more detailed information on Monday. I'm going to show you some steps to take, but we'll talk about all of that here soon. So I am going to talk about some random news because I like to open up the show with some random stuff. I call it random news because I haven't figured out a better name for that. So if you have one, obviously drop it in the comments and let me know. Let's see. IKEA. Okay, so IKEA is trying to take this whole advertising to the next level and engage their audience, especially when they're picking up an actual, this is not a magazine, but an actual magazine. So I'm just gonna play the clip so you can kind of see what I'm talking about and go from there. And you let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. So let me go ahead and switch over my screen one more time here. And let's go ahead and play this clip. I kind of fast forwarded it for you a little bit. So I don't know about you. It's definitely different, right? Being able to have an ad that if you want a discount on something, in this case, a crib, that you can pee on the ad and be able to see if you're pregnant and see if you get a discount for that crib. Yeah, really random. Really interesting way to engage with your customers, right? Something different. And look, it starts the conversation, which is what all of these things are leading up to, right? When we talk about the Facebook newsfeed. So I'm really excited about this episode because of the fact that the Facebook news feed changes have been blowing up everywhere. And I've kind of been trying to hold back because I'm kind of sitting here laughing at just how crazy everyone's just going about. Like, they feel like their life is changing, but unless I'm missing something, it's really not that big of a deal, because if you're just showing up and delivering, like we talk about, and bringing that quality content to the table, you're good. Like, you don't need to worry about what the newsfeed is doing, but we'll talk about that. So before I get in there, speechless, right, Stephanie? I know, I love that, speechless. See, this is why I have to look down sometimes, because there can be a little bit of a lag on here. So perfect. Okay, yeah, because there is a little bit of a lag because it didn't show up on here, but that's okay. That's how it goes. All right, so nearly news. Mickey, that's a good one. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I'm going to go ahead and heart that up right here on the device. So first off, before we even jump into that, and before I bring on our guests for today, let's talk about, do you even know what's going on with the newsfeed? Drop it in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, still answer that question. Because here's the thing, the way the newsfeed is changing, it's always constantly changing. We've never really had control over it, right? And the more people that get on there and the more ads that need to be on there, the more cluttered it gets. And that really clogs everything up. And so you probably, I hope, have been doing something similar like I have, where you're making a list somewhere, and we'll kind of talk about that more on Monday's show. I'll show you actually how to do some of these things, but hopefully you're making notes somewhere of the ones that you really want to show up with. So no idea what you're referring to. Awesome, Mickey. Good. We're going to be talking about that. So when it comes to your Facebook newsfeed, the only control you really have, is to be able to make a mental note, a link in a note somewhere, a Facebook list. Like, these are a few options. We'll talk about them more on Monday, but there's really no other way you can control your newsfeed besides really holding yourself accountable for seeing these posts from people. There's ways that you can start following pages, which you can check the pinned post above on my page here. That will give you an idea of how it works. But you really need to train yourself first, and then train your audience to not only like, we're done with all of that. We're over the whole like my page, like this, like that. And we're going to talk about that in a second, because I'm going to have a little rant on that. But you're wanting to go with the actual engagement. If you haven't already, you know me, I'm all about the building the relationships. I don't really care about the numbers. Those will come later. If you're doing your job and you're giving and you're helping and you're working with people and having that conversation, everything else falls into place. It takes time, which you have to be patient, but it will come. So what I want you to stop doing is stop dropping just the like my page. We're past that. And if you've been doing it, that's okay. We're learning together. I want you to take it to the next level. 2018 is about growth. You've heard me say this. It's all about growing yourself, your business, and everything else in between. So that means that I want you to stop saying things like, looking for likes. I want to reach 200 followers today, or I want to reach 200 likes by the end of today. Like, please. Just share a link. Like, what does all that mean? If you want to, if you have a certain number of likes that you want to get to by the end of today, what does that translate to? 0. Unless anybody is engaging on your page or in your Facebook groups or wherever you're at, that like means nothing. It's a notification, actually. I should say that. The only thing that like is worth is an annoying notification that is going to distract you from whatever it is you're working on, right? That's all it is. Because a like doesn't guarantee somebody's going to see your content. A like doesn't guarantee that somebody's going to engage with your content. So that's why you have to go one step further. You have to start engaging. It's all about the conversation, and it's really about going past this. So for instance, today's Friday. So on Fridays, a lot of Facebook groups will have where you can drop a link to your Facebook page. So what happens? A lot of people just drop their link to their Facebook page, which you might be thinking, oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's what the Friday is for, right? Well, yes, but how are you going to stand out? How are you, Mickey or Matthew or whoever else is watching this, how are you guys going to stand out? How's your page going to stand out from everyone else in that list just dropping a link? It's not. The only way your page is going to stand out, and I'm focused more on pages because this is really what the newsfeed change is going to affect a lot. The only way that you're going to stand out is if you give me something, give me your why, give me a sentence or two about what I'm going to see on that page. Because here's the thing, when you drop that link, that's just there. It's up to me, the person scrolling through the feed, to be one, interested, two, to actually click on it. That's an action, right? And then three, scroll on your page to see if I'm actually liking it, liking the content, I should say, not just liking it. That's a lot of action and a lot of things to assume somebody's going to do by you just dropping your link. So when you're going through and you're doing things like this, and please be sure to share and heart this up and all of that good stuff, even in the replay. But that's what you really need to do, is step up your game. That's what you want to do. And that's how you're going to be seen and how you're going to be heard. And so when it comes to your Facebook page, and if you don't have one yet, that's okay. If you're going to get one, great. These are good tips. You can also carry these tips throughout your other channels, meaning if you're on Facebook and you have a Facebook group, if you're on just your personal profile, if you're over on Instagram, because let's face it, Instagram's owned by Facebook, chances are this is all going to translate over there eventually. It usually does. Mickey, exactly. Solve a problem, fill a need, be present, and engage. Exactly. I'm going to go ahead and post that one up over here. Boom. That's what we're talking about. It's all about that engagement. And you'll notice that even after these broadcasts, I go back through to every comment, and I do more typically than a like. I'll go through with the love, the happy face, whatever, depending on the comment. And then I provide a comment, a follow-up one. That's because, one, I actually care and I want to go through and have a conversation. But two, it also helps that post. So you really have to think more in the terms of real life when you're going through and having a conversation with somebody. You're working with somebody. You're trying to engage with them. You're trying to work together. Teamwork equals success, right? And so that's why Facebook groups have been so popular, because, and why they're getting more popular, is because they're small communities. Some are really large, but they're little mini communities, right? Facebook figured out that people really like that. People like to engage. They like to have a conversation. That's why Facebook has also changed the way the comments look. Now they look like the chat bubbles that you have in a text message, because they want you to feel more comfortable. We're comfortable here texting on our phones, so we want to be more comfortable now on Facebook typing, right? Same type of thing. It's all about the user experience, and it's all about thinking through that process. Now, when you're going through and you're making these comments, don't just do a like. Go through one of the other emojis if you can. You know, obviously don't do an anger one if you're not angry, but you really want to make sure that you use those other emotions, because Facebook's also looking at that, because we're over the like. Facebook's even over the like. Stephanie, let's see. How did you get that comment to show up? Oh, perfect. So quick question. How did I get this comment to show up? I'm actually using BeLive.tv today, and it allows you to see the comments come in on the computer, and then you can hit the show and then hide so that they come in and out. Great question. Love that you're asking that. So when it comes to commenting, you want to use those emotions. You want to really ask questions. Go past just the actual, good job. I mean, sometimes that's okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll do that too, especially depending on who I'm talking to. But if it's somebody you don't know, put in a little work. It's just like putting in work in a relationship, right? Whether you're trying to meet someone, you're kind of trying to, put the moves on, whatever, it doesn't matter. You still got to put in the work. It's the same thing here on social media. So really pay attention to that. And if you're doing that, and if you're engaging and you're making it fun, you're okay. And I'll tell you, because I'm not big on the numbers, but I want to share with you just a couple stats here before I bring on our guest. We'll kind of talk more about connecting and going through business stuff too. But I'll kind of give you some background on my numbers. Again, I don't really follow my numbers, so these are just quick insights that I pulled from Facebook for my page. These are results from December 15th, 2017 to January 11th, 2018. Actions on my page, up 8%. Page views, up 7%. Page previews, up 159%. Reach, up 32%. Post engagements, up 29%. And videos, up 11%. Now, that's awesome. Like, again, those are like, it is what it is. But just to show you that that's what it is. And I'll tell you actually what my page likes are down 22%. But guess what? I don't really care about the likes. I care about the follows, which those are up. So it's all about what you bring to the table and what you're really focused on. If you're focused on those numbers, then you're going to be stuck on those numbers and you're not going to be paying attention to whoever is watching you or wants to watch you or who wants to engage with you. So really think about that and really understand that you have to have that conversation. And that's what social media used to be when it first came out. Everything was join the conversation on Facebook, on Twitter. But somehow we got way far away from that. And it was just all about, let me just give you everything that I produce. And I want you to make sure that you're reading this and watching this and doing all this stuff. And then it's like, but I don't even know if I like this. Like, how am I supposed to, like, what am I supposed to do? So things are finally changing from the higher ups, if you will. So let me go ahead and bring on our guests. I'll have them introduce themselves and kind of give us a little background. And just so you guys know, anytime you want to be a guest, you're welcome, Stephanie. I'm glad that you're liking this. Awesome. Or I should say, loving this. Heart. Goofy, right? I know. So if you want to be a guest later, you can always go to checkwithed.com and apply. I say apply just because I want to know who you are before bringing you on, but I'm not bringing on people that have a huge social media following. I'm not bringing on people, I mean, there may be, but my requirements aren't, you have to have so many X followers. You have to have so many engagements, or you have to be in business for so long. No, like, I'm bringing on people that want to be on the show and have something to talk about in terms of useful information when it comes to business, connecting people, technology, all that stuff. So it's really there just so that way I can see who's coming and what we can talk about. So keep that in mind. Don't be shy. Yesterday we had Ebony on for Trello, and that was a really popular video, by the way, by looking at it. And it was great because we had a conversation afterwards about how excited she was to be on the show and how it's motivated her to do more lives for herself. And I've had that conversation with a lot of people. So if you're not going live yet, that's okay. Maybe this is your cue. Maybe this is your sign to start putting in some work by going to apply to be on the show. So food for thought. So let me go ahead and notify our guests to come on, and then I'm going to go ahead and switch my screens over and go from there.
Hi.
Hello.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, it's like nighttime here, but good to be here.
I'm really excited, and I want you to, in a minute, tell us where you're at and all of that good stuff. But I got to tell you guys, I'm really excited because I can't even remember where we just met recently, but I think you're our first international guest. I don't know, so I'll turn it over to you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
That's awesome. Okay, my name's Matthew Dean, and I'm from Lincoln in the East Midlands. and I love coffee. Coffee is my biggest passion. The past 6 years I've been a barista. The past year I set up in business 1 year ago, and started roasting coffee just from like a mobile bike cafe. And recently been thinking a lot more about what drives me and what makes me want to do the work I do. So I'm big into like people like Seth Godin, and recently been getting into network marketing. So like thinking more about how do I come across in business, and how can I do work that is going to have a good impact on people. Yeah. Yes, coffee.
That's so awesome. Yes, I know coffee, right? It's like we all are like, yes, we where's our cup?
Awesome. Yeah. So I work in a specialty coffee, which is I don't know if you know like specialty field, but it's everything's graded over 80 out of 100. So it's only the highest quality coffee. The farmers will spend more time picking the ripest cherries. More care is spent roasting the beans, and it's like an art and a science essentially. So a lot more care goes into the cup that's produced.
That's really cool. Now, how did you get into specialty coffee?
So I got into it. It was my first job when I moved to London to study. So I studied music, but I was so fascinated by coffee and the people in coffee. And it's such a close-knit community of people that I didn't finish my degree, and I stayed working in coffee. It was just like the flavor aspect, the people, and the environments, like all these amazing coffee shops in London. That was why, yeah.
That's so awesome. And how long have you been doing it?
So I've been barista 6 years. Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
nice.
8 years, but 2 were at Starbucks. So, but yeah, 6 years. Yeah. Yeah.
And so what have you found to be like a struggle or a challenge, maybe I should say, in pursuing this? Because this is a lot of work.
Yeah, 100%. So London was really high pressure environment, and I went through psychosis. I went through a mental illness. It was horrible. Wow. Yeah, it was a really rough time. I'm lucky to be here alive. So it's, I was overworking. It was not enough rest and all those things. But my passion for it remained. So it was really difficult coming back to my home city. I'm from Lincoln. It's like a smaller city because there isn't much of a coffee scene. So trying to communicate or trying to connect with people who don't really get it has been really a challenge. But it's made me want to kind of keep going and pursue it, because essentially anyone can drink coffee anywhere, and all you need is really good roasted beans and good ingredients to start with, and then you can have an awesome experience. So yeah, but it has been challenging.
Yeah, well, and that sounds like a typical entrepreneur is running into overworking yourself and health issues and running into people that just don't get it. I mean, right, guys? If you're watching live, even if you're watching the replay, I mean, hands up, like we all go through that, right? Yeah, Stephanie, Erica. Oh, Erica was talking about the coffee talk. She's all ears.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's so good. Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, how did you get past that? I mean, what did you do? Because that's always a struggle. Trying to get people to understand what you're into and what you're trying to pursue.
I think I've just kind of I've stopped striving so much. I've stopped trying to be like I've stopped trying. Like absolutely. It's about the experience more. But in terms of my focus, it's more about how can I develop, how can I grow, rather than I need to make money. Whereas when I started, it was like I need to make money. I was just doing it all the time, and it wasn't really working on the business. It was just working in the business. So like, yeah, it's thinking how, like, I've just set up a new website called on Share Tribe. It's really good. So you can create your own marketplace. Cool. And my plan is to get all the coffee roasters to sell their coffee on this website. So it's going to be like a little Facebook of coffee, hopefully. So yeah, get involved at the end of the show. But yeah,
That,
it's
that's
just
really,
thinking. So
go ahead. Go ahead.
oh,
Sorry.
just giving yourself space to think, I think, is really important for me. So although I'm not really working that much at the minute. I'm not making many sales, but I'm having loads of ideas and loads of time to think, how can I develop it and make it better for what I'm doing? Because there's so many coffee roasters out there that are doing specialty, which is why this new thing could be good. Yeah.
Now, that's an interesting point. So a couple things there. I like that. One is taking advantage of the time you have, because I know even for myself, I was there too, where it was like, I'm the type that I need to work. Like I like to work, and as long as I'm doing fun stuff, of course, not busy work. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm like, there's been times in my entrepreneur journey where I'm like, I need to do something, and I get frustrated with that. But then I realize, wait, if I don't focus on that and I focus on these ideas and trying to research and figure out the process or what next, like that is so much better for me, and it allows me to really clearly think about what's the next step and where to go next, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think, well, the reason I was like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur now is because I introduced this guy into a good coffee shop that I used to work at, just by like putting a comment on one of his Instagram pictures. And because, yeah, and it was the right time, it was the right thing for that, for what he needed. And from that, he goes there all the time now. He like has sourdough all the time. It's like a sourdough and coffee.
I love it. I'm going to pause right there because I want you guys to listen to that. That was awesome. That he dropped a comment on an Instagram post. Like, literally, magic happens in the comments. I'm telling you guys. And it's not just here. Like on one of the previous episodes, we talked about that too, where just the title of one of my episodes here totally inspired one of my friends who didn't even watch the show at that point. She just saw the headline and went and posted on her Facebook page, tagging me how she was inspired by that and knew exactly what she wanted to do just by reading it. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's one of those things that I almost actually didn't do that episode. And I was so glad I did. And it's those times where you are reminded, like, you just got to show up and deliver. Like, you can't think too much about it. You just got to go and do it. Right?
Yeah. I think like it's so easy to overthink and write too much. I think like this was like literally like two words or something really small, and it just was. I didn't think about it. I was just like, yeah, you need to go here, man. And then it was helping him, but it was also kind of connecting with him at the same time. So yeah.
And I love that. And that's the thing when it just starts like that. It's just going and helping somebody, even if it's just a couple of words of inspiration, but just going with that positive intent and understanding like you're not expecting anything back, right? You're just wanting to show up and help.
Yeah, that's it. 100%. So that's been, I mean, in London, I was like, oh, I want to be the best. I'm the best barista. And it's like, I was very, big ego. And I think that helped me become ill as well. But coming back to Lincoln, I was a lot more like back to earth, like, oh my God, like I'm back in Lincoln. Like, where do I work? And I was just like, it was quite difficult. But I got past that and then started to enjoy feeling that I was contributing more. I was like, yeah, I'm really good at this, but my why's changed. Suddenly the reason why I'm working is different. Whereas before it was, I want to be successful. Now it's, I want to do something that's bigger than myself. So that's everything I do now is based around that place of being. So it's good. Even though I might not be in the best position financially or where I'm living, it doesn't matter because I know I'm moving, I know I'm progressing, and it's really good.
Oh, I love it. I'm like, you guys, I'm getting like chills because that's exactly what it's about. And that's what I'm sure most of you guys watching, even on the replay, are going to feel as well. Like you're going to be like, that's me. Like, yes, my situation might not be the best, but I'm making it happen. I'm moving forward. 2018, it's the year of growth. We're all growing together. We're working together. Teamwork equals success. There's another tweetable for you. And we're just one step at a time. That's all it is. You don't have to rush and be 20 feet ahead. You don't have to look at somebody's website and think, oh my gosh, I don't even have a website. How am I going to get it to look like? You just start. It develops. It changes over time. Like, just start. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, 100%. I'm learning a lot. I do a lot of reading. I think knowing what to read is sometimes hard for me because my personality is very much like, oh, I'll do this, now I'll do that, and I enjoy suddenly, and I just go with it, and it kind of works. But I think a bit more focus on planning my week or my day might give me a bit more effectiveness in it, and that's just knowing the goals better, I think, and knowing. But things always come up that are unexpected. Like there's a job, so yeah, it's being able to embrace that as well. I think the unexpectedness, but like I had a guy call me for a job today, and it's like for a new roaster position at the oldest coffee company in the UK, or one of them. Yeah, so it's like that's really perfect for me at this stage. So even though it's going back to employee, I can see the benefits of that, and I can work on the online business or something else. So yeah.
That is huge. And you guys watching this, I want you to make sure to pay attention to that as well. All of this is like gold because that is a big thing. It doesn't matter if you're working a 9-to-5 and trying to do your entrepreneur stuff. Like, don't be ashamed. Don't feel bad, because I know some of us have that thinking like you have to be one or the other. You can't be both. It's okay. You can be both. And in fact, it's smart to do both as long as you're not breaking any rules at the other employment at your 9-to-5, right? Like, as long as they don't own whatever you're producing on the side, you're good. You get a paycheck, probably healthcare, other benefits, and you get to do your entrepreneur stuff, like money.
That's good.
Done.
Yeah. So yeah, and like I think it's so easy to look outside as well and think, oh, I need to know that person, when really the person I might serve at the coffee shop, I just might not have talked to them properly or might not have connected to them. So that's something I kind of get off Facebook, is that, it's like, it's great, but, you can, oh, how many friends have I got? And that's a silly thing, but it's, nurture the people that are within your circle, because they're on your team too. You just got to choose to be a leader. You just got to step up and speak your mind and be authentic to who you are. So that's something I think is going to grow a bit more. I'm still a little bit like, I'm a bit of an empath, so I say how I'm feeling more than what I'm thinking. But it's interesting. I love understanding people and understanding what makes them tick, because then I can think, how can I be of use to that person? So that's something else. But yeah, lots to
that think. Is what we call the user experience, right? When we're talking about online world, that's getting inside your customer's head and understanding the user experience, which means you are understanding, like, I'll talk about websites because that's my thing and that's what I love to talk about, is that when somebody comes to your site, what do they see? What do you want them to see? What do you want them to click on? What are they clicking on? Like, everything you see on a website is something, like, it should be intentional. I won't say it is intentional, because even if you're just starting out with web design, you might not know that. But everything you see and the place it's positioned should be with an intent there, which is why web design can be very expensive, which is why it takes time, because you're not just throwing something together like on Wix. No offense if people have Wix websites, that's okay. But you really want to think about your process. That's why I tell you to write it down, sketch it out, see what you want, because when you actually get a clear mind like that, and then you start looking at other sites and you start asking people and listening, then you can start looking at yours and thinking, oh, okay, maybe the home tab should have, the home page should have my email list higher up on the page. Maybe it should be lower on the page. Maybe my sales copy for my sales page shouldn't be 5 pages long without a button higher up on the page. Because hint, hint, if I'm ready to buy, I don't want to scroll 5 pages down to get to a buy button. Give it to me beforehand, you know? So that kind of stuff all ties in. So I love it because you're taking the real life, real world things, and we're transitioning it into the online, and it's all the same. Everything works together.
That's interesting because I've never thought of it like the way. I've always separated. Well, Instagram is I can be a bit more real, but I think and I try to be as real as possible. But in my head, I think of Facebook and Instagram as like, oh, who am I on Facebook? Who am I on Instagram? So I think that confuses my audience because I'm not consistent over all of them. I think anyway, like Instagram, I'm better. But yeah, sometimes I post quotes and people what? Who's this guy posting quotes? And then other times I get better response when it's like actual photos. But yeah, I don't know. I don't use Facebook that much, but
yeah. Well, and that's the same thing. You know, what's great too. So you're very Instagram. I'm very Facebook. Like I have Instagram, but I'm not so focused on it. So your Facebook or your Instagram feed is like my Facebook page, right? Where we'll consider them our social media websites, if you will. Not trying to confuse you guys, but we have the way it's laid out. And very much so on Instagram, especially when somebody's profile, when you look at it as a whole, there is supposed to be some, you know, magic movement of what are you bringing to the table? Like if you're all about coffee, then technically your thing should be all about coffee. I say technically because that's what people tell you. You know, so then when you do throw in a random quote, the people following you may be like, well, wait, I was following this guy for coffee, not quotes, you know? So that's why I guess that's probably why I'm not so hard on Instagram, because I like to share a lot of different things. But as we talk about Facebook pages, again, going back to the newsfeed change as well, you guys, is that it really comes down to when you think about your Facebook page, think about it as your storefront window. I know storefront windows are kind of like old school because who goes to the store? We buy everything online. Go walk down your street in downtown or go to wherever and look at a window. If you don't have any, then Google one, but look at a storefront window. Think about New York maybe and how they have certain window displays. They think about what they're putting on that window display. They're making sure that it's like their best form of communication to draw people in, right? So start thinking about your business page on Facebook as that storefront window, and then only post things like that, which are going to be your main thing. Example, I know I kind of lost it there, but example is, for me, I decided my Facebook page, for the most part, at least at this point right now, is literally going to only be Ed Talk TV episodes. Scheduling them and posting them. And it's working. It's showing up as this is the content you're coming for. Then if you want, you can filter into a group, right? So you can have your business page where you are putting your best foot forward and you're engaging with people. And then you can filter them into your group and have that where you share whatever your topic may be. So really think about that. What? I think I just got depressed about my website. No, Stephanie. It's all good. Websites are growing. You always grow and your website grows with you. So that's never going to be perfect. Please remember that. Go ahead.
Sorry, thanks. What drives you to do this project? I'm really interested to know kind of what's the
Oh,
main.
yeah. So that's a great question. You guys, did you catch that? He's asking me my why. I love it. So this is my why right here, is being able to connect. I'm trying to contain myself because I want to be like jumping up and down because I get to hang out with you. We've
Awesome.
never met before this, besides a couple emails in the last 24 hours. And yet I'm ready to go hang out at a coffee shop and drink some good coffee, even though I used to say I'm not a coffee person, but when I find really good coffee, like there's one down the street from me, I really like it. So I'm ready to do the business, like just hang out and chat and work on ideas and stuff like that. And so this is my why, being able to bring people onto the show, be able to connect with people in the comments. Like this is what I've always wanted to do, was have my own show, believe it or not. And what I've been doing forever quietly in terms of just being in the comments and just kind of being in the background. If you would have asked me, I'll say 2 years ago, to be on live camera, forget it. Like it just, no, I could not do it. I didn't like watching myself. I didn't like hearing myself. I didn't feel comfortable on it. And, sometimes that comes up certain days of the week. But you know what? It is what it is. And I just show up and I deliver. Some days my show will be super short. Some days they'll be the full hour. It just depends. But this is my why, being able to connect with people, especially people I don't know, and being able to inspire, motivate, empower them, like Stephanie, to look at their website and think differently, and being able to empower them to actually build their own site and to move things around and really be flexible with that. Sorry, I get really crazy with technology stuff.
Awesome. I'm going to see it in a whole new different way now. I really am after this. That's great. Yeah, because I don't know. I tend to. I think I maybe I could be more present. There's something I want to work on, is like not thinking too much of the future, because I tend to think of, oh, I'm going to be doing this in the future, so that affects what I write, because it's like, oh, I can't explain it, but sometimes I can do that with people as well, which is a bad habit as well. But essentially, obviously, the best times when you're serving someone, when I'm making coffee, I'm so in the present. but yeah, the best time is when you just like, you're weighing the espresso shot, it's bang on, you're just in the zone with the milk. So like, I love being in flow. It's that state of where you're not thinking and you've got that energy to just be authentic, I guess. So that's cool.
That's cool. And when you were saying that, I don't know if anybody else watching saw this too, but when you said that, in my mind, I saw you literally pouring the milk and watching it. Like, I mean, that was storytelling, you guys. And we talked about this in an episode earlier this week, is that it's all about storytelling. It's about engaging with your users, engaging with your audience, and painting a picture now more than ever. So that's a big one. What does our guest think about your coffee mug? Oh, so Mickey wanted to know what you thought about my coffee mug. So my coffee mug is me. Stupid is my
cool.
business, and then start, learn, grow, and share. But first, check with ed.com.
I like it. That is cool.
It's a fun one.
That's
nice, cool. Mickey. Thank you. But yeah, so it's one of those things, like the way I saw that was because not only because you said it, but because we've talked now, you've painted a picture for all of us. You've given us, even though we've just talked a little bit about it, you've given us that just enough where we can imagine sitting in the coffee shop or standing at the counter and watching you pour and not be in a hurry. Like, I mean, I feel so relaxed just watching, and it's because you're passionate about it and because you really are in it for that experience. You're not in it for the money. You're in it for that experience, which is what we all should be in.
That's great. it's like having a bit of context can put you in that place, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
also, I think it's when you really understand something, it's like, what's that Einstein quote? If you can't explain something simply to someone, you don't understand it properly. And I love that because when I read new things now, I try and read it as if I'm going to teach someone, because that makes me learn it quicker. And you can, that if you can say something simply, then that's going to be more effective, isn't it? So that's cool.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned that quote. I'm looking it up right now. I have it on my my other websites. So Stupid Easy is my other business, which is an online course platform where people can take and share and sell courses. And actually, I have that quote on my homepage. Quote, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough."
Oh man, that's awesome.
Let me see if I can get it there.
What's it called again?
Stupideasy.com for that one. Yeah.
I'll check it out. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's fun, anybody who's trying to look it up, you can go to stupideasy.com or just go to checkwithed.com. Everything's on there. So you guys know. But yeah, it's about having fun and just obviously having intent with it. I mean, we can't just all be having a party and doing whatever, but when you have that intent and you look at things differently, and when you want to educate yourself so that you can educate others, I'm all about that. That's exactly why I got into this business. That's why I got into web design, because I'm not a coder. I don't code websites. I know a little bit, but I got into it because I got tired of people being screwed over with their websites and being frustrated not knowing how to edit or change things. And I'm like, I can do this. I can show you how. I can build you something that you can then manage. Like, let me do this. And so that's when it clicked for me. And I was like, this is what I need to work on. That's what I need to do, That's
great. I think, do you believe it's better to go in on all your strengths, as like Gary Vee says, or do you think you should learn, where's the balance with that? Like because the education thing, 100%. I think I'm going to do more of that. I think network marketing, reading a book from Eric Warren is like, the way to do it is to just educate the person about the opportunity rather than sell them and pitch it. So that's cool. But do you think, where's the line in terms of, no, I'm going to just focus on this, or be open to learning new things?
Yeah. It's a great question. It's a hard question to answer. So I'll give you my best insight, because I've kind of gone through this a lot, where I wanted to do everything. Like I'm now circling back to my main focus on building websites, and then marketing, and then the building relationships online. It's kind of like my 3-part series here. I just recently narrowed it down to that, which it's still a lot when you think about it, but the way I have it set up is different. And when I first started my business, I thought, I'm going to have my own little ad agency type thing. I'm going to be able to do all the web design, the marketing, all these things, which I still do, but I'm only one person, and I was trying to market all these different things on top of trying to create my book, trying to do a podcast, trying to create Stupid Easy, trying to do all these other things. And it's like, wow, I can do a lot of things, but when you go to actually share with others, it's overwhelming and you lose them. And so it's really figuring out the one thing that you really want to focus on and driving that home and really getting deep into that, and then seeing what can come from that. So for instance, I was just listening to a podcast and it was really good. I'll have to share it in the comments, you guys, afterwards. The one that I was listening to, I'm almost done with it, but they were talking about how they started with their baby clothes. They had produced baby clothes, like all organic and all this stuff. And what they started with is just the onesie, just the baby onesie. That's it. They started with that because they knew that every parent wants one, and who can resist a good onesie? So that was their main focus.
Right.
And then from there, they took it to the next level. And I don't know what exactly they did after that in terms of like step 1, 2, 3, 4, but basically they added shoes, they added all these other things. So they worked on adding more as they continued to grow, but they started very simple. And actually the story, like I said, I'll post it in the comments afterwards. The story is really good to listen to the podcast because they talk about how they really just started with just teaching people. They started with the blog posts and trying to figure out how they could communicate to people what they were doing. And they were like, oh, here's one topic. Let's teach them why we're doing this and what we're doing with it. So it's all about teaching.
Cool. Yeah, something I think I haven't thought of as like, as something that you can do every day, because it's that school experience of, oh, he's a teacher, I'm the student. I've done an English language TEFL thing, but I'm not like a proper teacher, you know. But obviously you can educate anyone with small things. I think it's just whether they're open to being educated, if that makes sense. Like there's got to be some kind of entry or doorway. I don't know, but but something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's important to for everyone watching too, even the replay viewers, it's important to know that when you are setting up times for your business, because you should have office hours, even if you work from home, you're planning out your day. You need to make sure that you factor in personal development time. This is huge. Whether that's reading a book for 10 minutes, whether that's listening to a podcast, whether it's spending 20 minutes researching online, whatever it is, you need to make the time for that consistently and make sure that you are constantly keeping yourself going, because it's important to educate yourself. It's important to listen to things. For instance, like I said, that podcast. I love podcasts. They're the best free education you're ever going to find outside of, obviously, Ed Talk TV. I mean, let's be real. But when it comes to podcasts, it's been a couple weeks, well, probably a couple months now, where I've been in and out of listening to my podcast just because a lot of things have gone on and I've been doing the show and everything. However, I started listening to it again this week, and it's just funny how the certain episodes, like the one I mentioned, I listened to, and that's the whole theme of this week. We talked about storytelling. We talked about, getting started in your business. We talked about how to focus and how to teach. I mean, it blows my mind when I hear that and I'm like, but we've been talking about this all week. And then the Facebook Newsfeed update, like how everyone's freaking out about it. And yet it's stuff I've already been telling you guys. I've been already talking about. We've been going over that. It's all about connecting with people. So, it's one of those mind-blowing things. So really educate yourself consistently and make that time for it, because let's face it, if it's not on the calendar, it's not happening. And we need something to reference so that when we get off track, we can go back to it and be like, oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think having daily habits if it's a habit, is a habit, isn't it? So it's so easy to not think about our habits, because we don't think about as the small things. We tend to think about the big things, don't we? So it's like if we do write things down, or even just like 3 habits. I might start doing that. 3 habits I want to actively think about. How can I improve that?
And there is a power of that 3 rule that's very powerful. So having 3 topics there is good. If anybody watched the 2 days ago we had on our show, we talked about the note cards, having the 3x5 index cards. And what I do is I put a topic on the front and then up to 3 talking points on the back. And you can do the same with anything that you're building, whether you're working on a project or whatever. You can do the same type of thing. You put the project name on the front, and you put your 3 topics on the back that you want to cover. So if it's a blog post, you put the title on the front, 3 talking points on the back. So having something with the 3, there's just this magic with 3, and it really does work.
Ah, cool. I'll give it a go. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely try that.
I think also trust. I wanted to speak about trust a bit, because I think like I think I read today that trust is becoming like a really valuable commodity in because of all the sharing economy. Like with the research for this website, it's like you know, the Airbnb thing. Like how do we measure trust? Like how do we build it? How do we retain it? I think it's something I want to learn more about, but it's something that you don't often think about. But it makes sense to me because all these Instagram businesses I've been messaging to, like, oh, do you want to join this thing? Like, it's always the people I know who know me who are like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. And it's so much more straightforward to do. But yeah,
I think for building on that trust, and I know the reason why live video like this is so popular now is because you can't hide. You're building that trust with your audience, whether one person shows up or 100 or plus more show up. It doesn't matter. You can even have 0 people show up to your show, you guys. And I call it a show because, let's face it, live videos shows now. But you could have nobody show up to your show and still watch the replay. Remember that. It doesn't matter how many people show up to your live broadcast. Your only job is to show up and deliver. Everything else is just bonuses. That's all. So like for Matthew, if you start doing live video on Instagram, that is huge. That's going to start building your audience. They're going to start knowing you. They're going to start liking you. They're going to start trusting you. You know, same for anybody else, whatever platform you're on. The more you do that, the more people are going to feel connected to you. And it's been impressive. I will tell you, from doing this show, and we're so early on in the year too, you know, anything can happen, but just from doing all of these lives, like this live specifically, and I know it's a hot topic because of the Facebook thing, but this live specifically, I had people already starting the conversation in the comments before we even went live, which was awesome. Like people started right away, and it was probably a couple hours prior to the actual show starting. So that is huge, and that's what you want to start encouraging your audience to do, and start really talking to them, talking with them, not just at them.
How did you start, like, the process of the live show? Like, did you know you were going to have guests, or was it just you saying your daily things, or, you know, like, what was it on organic growth? Because now I want to start one. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But
so everyone, take notes, share, love this up. So what happened was I knew that live video was something I needed to start working more on, because I've had people start connecting more with me, and that's all just through conversations in the comments. So I knew that I had to take it one step further. And the next thing was live video. So I decided, okay, live video for me, not so much the best. I mean, I'm good on video, fine, whatever, but like I want some engagement between somebody else on the show with me, because I just do better. I mean, it's just how I am. And so I thought, okay, well, why don't I think about it as a talk show? Because I can bring people on, I can go solo, and I can do whatever I want on it. And it felt like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, because when I started thinking about it as a talk show versus just me going live, that's when it clicked, and I was like, I can do this. I can just show up, say what I got to say, and be out. If people end up coming, cool. But if not, oh well, at least I did it, you know? So really it started from there, and I don't have any paid advertising. I don't do any paid ads, no Facebook, no Google AdWords, no Instagram ads. Like, I don't do any of that stuff. Partly because I don't really want to. I'm sure there'll probably be a time and a place maybe for that in some of my businesses, but as of right now, I don't do that. And so it's really cool to see the organic traffic and the organic growth, and being able to say, I don't do ads, and show people, like, you just have to connect, and it goes from there. It takes time. Trust me, it takes time. You have to show up, and you have to show up consistently, and you have to engage. But when you do, people notice you. Like I said earlier in the beginning of the broadcast, you guys, when you have the opportunity to share your content in these Facebook groups, on Facebook pages, whatever, take that opportunity and run with it. Don't just drop your link. Don't just ask for somebody to like your page. Don't sound spammy by saying, I need so many likes today. No, tell them your why. Give them your story. Just like Matthew painted that picture for us about him with the milk and being able to just be in that moment. Like that right there, instant like, follow, and comment. All three. And probably a share if it was a video, right? So understand that when you are doing the work, it comes back. And it's just like when you get a really cool, for instance, mug, right? Now everyone's like, oh, that's a really cool mug, Ed. I want one. I didn't promote it. I'm not selling. I mean, I do sell them, but I'm not like saying, here, go buy my mug, everyone. You need this mug. This mug is the best. No, I'm literally just created it. And if it's there, it's there. Like whatever, you know? So I don't know. That's kind of the long answer.
It's cool. I was reading a marketing guide, so ADA, awareness, interest, desire, action. And this is something that I haven't put into the cover business at all. So I think it's going to change things a lot because, well, I'm using social media, but, you know, it's like you got to, people are aware of it. Like, what do they think of it? Like, are they interested? Oh, okay, looks good, you know, and everything else. I think desire was the most crucial factor. It is kind of the most interesting one to me to develop a brand. But in terms of desirability for a person, I'm not sure where that comes in. But it's like, yeah, it's like the attention thing, isn't it? Like, you know. But I also think it's having something to say that's going to actually be useful or beneficial. Because if we're all the same and all doing, you know, the same stuff, then it's not really going to work, is it? So I think that's why I like it when there's something different. This was different. This was like the first different thing like this I've seen. So that's cool. Yeah.
Well, I am so happy to have you here, and I definitely would love to bring you back on the show. We're running out of time here, so any last words before I let you go?
I'm just going to say, yeah, thanks for having me on the show. It's been cool. It's been really good. My business is Joy Coffee. If anyone, I can ship out coffee to you. It's all the best coffee you'll drink. So, yeah.
Yeah, and be sure to share a link in the comments below afterwards.
Okay, awesome.
Or whatever info you have for it so people can find it.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's
awesome.
Great.
Thank you so much, Matthew. We'll keep connecting afterwards, but enjoy and jump into the comments and connect with people too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
All right, guys. How awesome was that? That was like exactly what, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better show on a Friday, and you guys are still here and hanging out, even if you're watching the replay, like fire. I'm like at loss for words. This was an excellent episode. I love all my episodes, but this was amazing. Continue to carry on the conversation in the comments. Continue to share it and have those emotions go past the like. Monday show, at least at right now, we're going to talk about Facebook and tips that you can do to make sure that you're seeing pages. I'm going to train you so that you can then train your audience. Well, I should say I'm going to train you first, and then you're going to train yourself, and then you're going to train your audience, if that makes sense. So definitely make sure that you tune in there. And if you want to be a guest on the show, you can head to checkwithed.com after this and go ahead and check for the Facebook Live show. And I'm going to pop into the comments and start hanging out with you guys after. Take care. Have a great night and weekend. This episode is sponsored by Stupid Easy. Easily create, share, and sell your online courses. Discover more at stupideasy.com.